If you've played a trading card game at any point in your life, chances are it was Yu-Gi-Oh! Following the strong appeal of Magic the Gathering, released in 1993, Konami created a trading card game of their own, Yu-Gi-Oh! This TCG is loosely based on the card game Duel Monsters, which appears in the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Manga from 1996 and its anime adaptation. No, not the one with Pegasus and the mullet guy, no. The other one. Ever heard of Season 0? This anime was only ever published in Japan. The plot is drastically different and overall much darker than in the later adaptation we all grew up with. The Duel Monsters card game was originally one of many activities Yugi and his evil pyramid puzzle spirit would play in order to, let's say, get rid of the weakly antagonist. The card game, however, found wide appeal amongst its audience, so the only sensible thing was to recreate it in real life and sell it for $5 a pack. Who would have known that Kazuki Takahashi's innocent creation would become one of the cornerstones of the TCG genre? The Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game has received numerous video game adaptations, some mostly centered around the card game itself, while others took more liberty with the franchise. Actually, I adore this game, it's so much fun. I gotta make a video on it soon. While we're on the topic of Yu-Gi-Oh! Monster capsules, did you know that the first ever Yu-Gi-Oh! Video game was basically a prequel to this game? It's called Yu-Gi-Oh! Monster Capsule Breed and Battle, and it released in 1998, a full year before the actual card game. This is irrefutably proven by Kaiba's hair color.
Screw the rules, I have green hair. Huh. Well, that was just weird. I should probably cut down on the drugs.
In fact, before the card game launched, there were 3 video game adaptations already out, but of course they were only released in Japan. The first Yu-Gi-Oh! Video game that we, the non-Japanese audience, received was the legendary PlayStation 1 classic, Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories. Contrary to some other videos I've seen on YouTube, Forbidden Memories does not predate a card game. It actually came out in December of 1999 in Japan, so about half a year later. It does, however, predate the more popular anime.
Attention, duelists! My hair is assaulting you!
I'm actually going to do something for once.
While the game sold 2.5 million copies across the globe, it was met with rather average reviews and critic scores. Luckily, this did not prevent it from becoming the nostalgia-filled classic that it is today. Just looking at the cover of the game probably makes you feel something. I know I do. But why was this game so appealing? And why is it equally popular today as it was back then, if not even more? Let's find out. First, let's try to figure out why this game was appealing back when it released. While Forbidden Memories may not have been the first adaptation of the popular franchise, it was the first one to be localized for Western audiences. It released in the same year as the actual trading card game, both in Japan and in the West, so chances are that the two games gained popularity off of each other. I played Forbidden Memories a few years after its release, and I vividly remember already having played with bootleg Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards for a while at this point. The idea was simple but charming. Play the game you already love and experience a unique and engaging story along the way. Well, unique and engaging if you happen to be young enough. But still, a big component to Forbidden Memories' appeal was its simplicity. The story is straightforward and easy to grasp. The big bad guys want to steal your magic jewelry, so you don't let them. And after a training/tournament arc, you come back to defeat them for good. At the same time, the story is not integral to the gameplay experience. There are no important dialogue choices, and you can get through the game by just dueling away from one opponent to the next. Sure, there are a few fights you can miss, but you wouldn't know that unless you go into free duel modes, and even then, does it really matter? Probably not. Simplicity is also found in the gameplay of Forbidden Memories. The concept is easy to grasp. You draw 5 cards, you play 1 per turn, the higher number wins, and if your opponent's life points reach 0, victory is yours. Since there are barely any cards with effects in this game, you can get your way through most of it by just looking at the numbers. This was crucial for my experience playing this as a kid, as my bootleg version of the game was in English, and as a 6-year-old Bosnian kid, I didn't understand English yet. Getting through the dialogue was a trial and error process, but the dueling was simple. Just play strong monsters. The enemies in the early game also don't use any spell or trap cards, making the combat easy to learn. The only depth you would experience gameplay-wise was the fusion mechanic. Unlike a lot of mechanics in later stages of the card game, this was, however, also very intuitive.
Samurai warrior guy. Attack her winged aerobics instructor. Wait, Joey, in this episode, flying monsters have an advantage over land-based monsters for no adequately explored reason.
You can attempt to fuse any number of cards in your hand, and if they cannot fuse together, they won't. If they can, you're rewarded with a nice little animation and a stronger card on the field. This system features many different ways to create monsters that are strong early on and allows for a lot of creativity. You're rewarded for trying things out and taking risks. As the internet was not the easily accessible tool it is today, it was not possible to look up fusion spreadsheets, so there was also a sense of mystery involved. Who knows how strong fusions could become if you just find the right cards to put on top of each other? The final point towards Forbidden Memories' wide appeal is the difficulty curve. The first half-ish of the game is balanced in a comfortable way. The first few fights are pretty easy and allow you to experiment with the fusion mechanic. As you progress through the first arc and the following tournament, opponents start to play stronger monsters and challenge your abilities. The final enemy of the tournament,
Koiba. My name is not Koiba.
can be a relatively difficult obstacle if you're unlucky enough, but with enough tries you will eventually beat him too. What becomes problematic, however, is the difficulty of everything that follows. The game ramps it up very quickly, and suddenly you find yourself fighting opponents who play monsters straight from their hands that are stronger than anything you could possibly fuse with your pathetic cards.
My grandpa's deck has no pathetic cards, Kaiba. Except maybe for Karibo.
The game then wants you to grind. A lot. There are a few specific cards that can really bolster up your deck, but you will only get them from specific, not so easy to beat enemies, and often you need to get an S rank. Good luck figuring out how to do that, 6-year-old me without internet access. On top of that, Forbidden Memories throws you a curveball of 6 opponents at the end of the game, all of whom you have to beat in one single run without saving the game in between. Doesn't that sound fun? But Dino, I hear you object, there is another method to obtain cards. Doesn't that make it easier? Of course, you're talking about the star chips you're rewarded at the end of each duel you win. The problem with those is that you can get a maximum of 5 star chips per duel, while even mediocre cards can cost up to hundreds if not thousands of these chips. If grinding is your thing, by all means, go ahead and buy that Blue Eyes White Dragon for 99,999 chips, no problem. Oh, and let's not forget that there are 33 completely unobtainable cards if you don't play on the Japanese version and happen to own a Sony Pocket Station. A good chunk of these unobtainables are insanely powerful cards that late opponents will just casually play against you. Good luck. This is certainly part of why a lot of players, me included, never completed this game back in the day. The first half is fun, sure, but the second half is basically impossible if you lack the necessary knowledge. The question remaining is, why is it then that Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories is still so popular today? I think the modern appeal of this game is specifically due to its ridiculous late-game difficulty. The audience for this game is older now, meaning they are more competent at playing and understanding games. Information about video games, especially old ones, has been extensively researched and is readily available for free. The higher difficulty is no longer a seemingly insurmountable task, but rather a proper challenge that can be tackled given enough time and dedication. For a lot of players, coming back after many years to finally overcome this obstacle is a highly satisfying endeavor. And they are willing to grind it out if necessary. Another component I think cannot be overstated is the rising popularity of speedrunning. Tons of older games have seen incredible revivals amongst new and old fans alike, as speedrunning provides even the easiest titles with a challenge you can tackle yourself or even measure your own skill against hundreds of others on the leaderboards. It's also just fun to see how much your favorite childhood game can be ripped apart mechanically by skilled players. Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories has quite a speedrunning community behind it, with some of the world record videos by a popular runner GFC hitting 6 digits on YouTube. Other videos on this game's speedrunning community have achieved even greater publicity, such as the Rixa's documentary-style video and Carl Jobst's report of the cheating scandal that occurred a few years ago within the community.
That's against the rules, isn't it?
Screw the rules, I have money.
These videos are greatly entertaining, so you should certainly check them out. The fact is, speedrunning breeds an active and passionate community for any game that picks up steam, drawing lots of attention to otherwise long-forgotten titles. If it wasn't for runners of this game, who knows how popular Forbidden Memories would be today. There are other forms of community-based content keeping this title alive. Many other content creators have gone back to this game, mostly to rant about its uniquely frustrating difficulty. However, my inspiration for making this video came from fellow YouTuber John O, who recently started a rather exceptional challenge series, trying to beat Forbidden Memories with decks that contain only one type of monsters. If you've played, let alone beaten this game yourself, you know that there are a few cards that are used by almost everybody to finish the game, speedrunners included. Jono's videos oppose this monotonous approach by attempting to prove you can do it by using other tactics too. I'm quite surprised that no one else had considered creating videos like this, myself included.
Curses foiled again.
Personally, I've had a lot of fun watching his videos. Definitely give them a try after you finish this one. There is one more community for this game I haven't mentioned yet though. There is an incredibly large community for Forbidden Memories mods. In recent years, we've seen a resurgence of various old video game titles caused by modding or ROM hacking. ROM hacking has been around for quite a while, but the tools for this rather unusual activity have become more accessible over time, allowing a higher number of people to go back and modify games of their childhoods in any way they see fit. A good example of this are Kaizo ROM hacks of old Mario games, placing ridiculously difficult platforming and unpredictable traps all over already challenging levels. The older the title, the more easily it is hacked, that's how it seems anyway, meaning that a rather simply constructed PlayStation 1 era title like this one can be altered by anyone willing to put some time into learning how to do it. There seem to be huge modding communities in a few different places all around the globe, the biggest of which being in Brazil, apparently. I remember joining a Facebook group years ago that was all about posting download links of various mods and players exchanging their experiences with them. The degree to which these mods alter the game vary incredibly. There are mods that simply increase the number of cards you receive after a duel to 5 or 15. There are mods that rebalance the original game to, and I'm dead serious, be even more challenging, while making each card actually obtainable. Some mods change fusion lines to be a bit more visually intuitive, or extend them to new monsters, allowing you to create very strong creatures with multiple weak cards. Other mods alter the name and appearance of the opponents, as well as the dialogue, effectively changing the direction of the game's story completely. And some mods even introduce tons of effects for monsters, and best of all is, a lot of them are horribly, and I mean horribly balanced. So you'll have to do a bit of research to figure out which ones are actually worth playing, and which ones are probably best left in the more obscure corners of Brazilian and Vietnamese web spaces. I wanted to highlight this incredibly vast array of Forbidden Memories mods because I was genuinely shocked when I first found out about their existence. Did you know how many of them are out there? Did you know there are groups of thousands of people playing this game and its various alterations on a daily basis and have been doing so for years? Honestly, even after diving deep into all of the reasons I believe are responsible for this game's long-lasting popularity, I still can't wrap my head around how much people enjoy playing it. It's quite beautiful to see, and I hope we see a lot more content for this game, be it in the form of extremely game-altering and questionably balanced ROM hacks from enthusiasts all over the globe, or be it in the form of unnecessarily long and detailed video essays about obscure entertainment media from the late 90s.